Right, tomorrow night, 8 p.m, off of the back of an emphatic win over the Premier League champions in Liverpool, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea side take to Stamford Bridge once again, where European football returns to Stamford Bridge once again. And hopefully, just hopefully, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, Conference League football returns to Stamford Bridge once again for the last time when we face Djurgården. So in today's video, I am going to be previewing the match. I'm going to give you guys my preferred starting 11 for the game, and as always, I'll top it off with a score prediction. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do hit the subscribe button if you like the content and you want to see more. If you are part of the 50 or so % of my regular viewers that aren't subscribed to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I know that YouTube brings it up on your homepage because of the algorithm anyway, but it does really help me out if you do subscribe. And the content is not going to stop, because over the summer we are going to have transfers. We are going to have the Club World Cup, which I cannot wait for. Another chance for Chelsea to get our hands on some silverware. And my God, if we win the Conference League, finish inside the top 4 or 5, whether that's, Champions League spaces, which we know it now will be, and somehow manage to pull off getting our hands on the Club World Cup, that will be an epic season, to be honest, with the standards of, how things have been under the new ownership. So, if that's not enough of a reason to hit the subscribe button, then I don't know what is. But let's get into the game itself. Obviously, we are 3 goals up. 4-1 was the result in the reverse fixture, and I've got to be honest with you lot. It's not that I don't rate Djurgården, it's not that I don't think they'll bring an impressive crowd over as Legia Warsaw did, and it's not that I don't think that the support for the team will be immense. But I think they had their chance already, and that was when we went to their back garden and played them. And when I speak about their back garden, it was one of those budget ones, wasn't it? One of those ones that looks the part, but we all quite know the grass isn't real. It was an AstroTurf pitch, and I know that some of you guys will say, well, hold on, even the Djurgården players complain about that pitch and they don't like it. They may not like it, but they're a lot more used to playing on it than we are. So that is something that I thought they'd be able to use to their advantage in the first leg. And obviously, they weren't able to. 4-1. But the question really lies with this match as to how we field this team. How strong do we go? Because if you look at Enzo Maresca's team selections, in the earlier stages of this competition, I'm talking Servette, games that were a lot more early on and probably perceived as being a lot easier, not teams that had got through knockout stages at that point. We went, I don't want to say weak, but we went with what I would say was a B team at the time. However, when you look at things with the comings and goings, especially in January, we haven't really got that much of a B team anymore, This could be a fixture. If the narrative was being pushed still that Chelsea had an A team and a B team, then this could be a fixture where we could field an entirely different starting 11, we could have the likes of Renato Vega in there, we could have the likes of Axel Disasi in there, we could have the likes of, I've already forgot his name, that's how insignificant he was playing for Chelsea Football Club. It's gone out my head now, he'll come back in a minute, signing with Andre Santos, what's his name? Cesar Casadei. Sorry, mind blank. I've only just woke up, by the way. Yeah, we could have him in there. We could have João Felix in there. Raheem Sterling. So many other players. Even Nkunku probably isn't going to get a look in this game. And then we've got players that are obviously out injured, like Mark Yu, who would preferably be starting up top in this game. So there are a lot of players that would probably make that B team that I think could maybe make for a stronger B team than the one that we're looking at fielding. But this is going to be my preferred lineup that you're about to see on screen, not my predicted lineup. If I had to put my money on it, I think that Enzo Maresca will probably go a little bit stronger than I'm going, and then I think that he'll sub a lot of the big guns off earlier on into the second half. Maybe 55 minutes or so, we'll start seeing 3 substitutes and then another one and then another one to see out the time. But I do believe from what I've seen of Djurgården so far, they're a team that we're very much capable of beating. And I think that even the players that didn't get on the pitch against Liverpool will be massively inspired by that win. And therefore, they'll be inspired to put in a performance in this match to say, okay, the season's nearly done. You're probably not going to shake things up too much, but I need to be in your plans next season. And I'm specifically looking at players, obviously, like Reece James, club captain, you know, the most important game of us for the season so far. He didn't start. He got, I don't know, what did he get? Maybe 20 minutes or so off the bench against Liverpool. So a big one for him. So we will get into that team sheet. But just before we do, my last thing to say when we're touching on Djurgården as opposition is I do think that coming to Stamford Bridge and needing to swing that deficit, is it going to be a case of, okay, boys, we might never get here again. We might never get to, you know, play a club of this stature again. Probably will, by the way, but we might never. So let's absolutely go all guns blazing, go out, and even if we end up losing 5-0 because we're constantly getting tore through the middle, getting counter-attacked, then it is what it is. Right, people, I just want to quickly take this opportunity to tell you about new partners of the channel, Squawker. When you're in the YouTube industry like I am, there is a certain type of service that you could very much do with having on your side, and that is the service that stops you making blunders. And when I'm preparing for some of my videos, I use the website Squawka to use the player comparison matrix, and that helps me get a better understanding of comparing the players that I'm talking about. For example, a lot of you guys know that for every Chelsea game I put out my preferred starting lineup, and I do look into the underlying numbers of the players I'm picking and the players that I'm comparing, and that's where Squawka comes in. They offer the best player comparison matrix on the internet. The website is so efficient and so easy that even I can use it. For example, when I'm picking from Chelsea's 30 to 40 odd wingers that we've got at the club, I can very easily jump onto Squawka and see how their stats compare. But you don't need to be a YouTuber to need to use Squawka. You could use it for your bets when you're betting on first goal scorer and things like that. It could give you a better indication. Or you could just use it to look like a genius down the pub, and we all like to do that, don't we? So thank you very much to Squawka for not only helping me prepare for my videos, but also partnering up with the channel. So help support me by supporting the guys that support the channel in Squawka. They are linked in the description for this video. Let's get back into it. Or do they come to shut up shop, damage limitations? I really don't know. But regardless of that, here is the starting lineup that I would go with. We have got Jorgensen in goal. Joshua Changpong at right back. Really looking forward to seeing a lot more of him. I think that we'll see a lot more of him next season. I don't know whether that will be in a Chelsea shirt or whether that will be out on loan. But one thing I do know is if he is to go out on loan, he is just way too good to be going out on loan to, let's say, I think even Strasbourg, and that'll sound controversial because they're cracking the top 4 at the moment, I believe, in Ligue 1. But I think even Strasbourg, you know, I could see Joshua Changpong playing for a Premier League side. I could see him playing for a mid to sort of lower mid-table Premier League side, something like that. So definitely one to watch there. Tosinada Abayo, I would go with paired with Benoit Badiashile, and then Malo Gusto on the left-hand side. We know that Enzo Maresca likes to invert Malo Gusto into midfield, and you might be thinking, well, hold on, Joshua Changpong's been inverting into midfield as well. If we have as much possession of the ball as I believe we're going to have, I think that that's exactly what you'll see, is both of them kind of inverting and either taking it in turns or just both doing it at the same time, because we're going to have so many players in front of the ball and so many players in the Djurgården half. Obviously, Reece James I've got at the base there of midfield. Now, I've gone with Kiernan Dewsbury Hall one side of him, Enzo Fernandez the other side of him. Enzo Fernandez was phenomenal the other day. I really don't want to see Enzo Fernandez being left out there for too long. But I've got to be honest with you guys. What else are we going to go with? Because I know that earlier on in the competition, We saw the likes of Raksaki, for example, be given some game time. I don't think 3 goals to the good or not Enzo Maresca, is going to do that. I really don't think he is. I think that he's going to look at the passing range and ability of Enzo Fernandez and think that you can help supply us with a couple of early goals and then you can come off and rest those legs. And I don't think that he'd risk Caicedo, and I don't think that he would risk Romeo Lavia. So I do see Enzo Fernandez starting this match, and obviously because of lack of options, I would probably put him here. As I say, if we had a Renato Vega, the role would probably be perfect for him. But with Malo Gusto, with the legs that he offers us, I don't think that Enzo Fernandez is going to have to run himself into the ground. I think that he can just be there, make the game tick over, and stay as fresh as possible for Newcastle on Sunday. Now, on the right-hand side, I have gone with Tyreek George, and I will be buzzing to see Tyreek George in this game. I think that he's really, really impressed me in this competition. Obviously, he's really impressed me every time that he's played, to be honest. That goal against Fulham was phenomenal. I've gone Jadon Sancho on the other side and Nicholas Jackson through the middle. Nicholas Jackson was a little bit quiet against Liverpool. I'm not saying that he didn't add fluidity to the front line. I'm not saying that he didn't take down a lot of balls, and I'm not saying that he didn't give Quansah and Virgil van Dijk a lot to think about. But in terms of his actual output, I thought he was a little bit, not non-existent, but, you know, low for his standards. And obviously we've seen him bag a few goals since coming back. Now, one team we did see him bag a beauty against was Djurgården. So I believe that maybe this might be a case of giving Nicholas Jackson another 60 minutes or so to get the confidence levels up. And what you've got to remember here as well is we aren't a fly on the wall inside Cobham. We don't know how Enzo Maresca trains these boys. We were led to believe that it was very strict fitness regimented training under Pochettino, and maybe perhaps Enzo Maresca doesn't have that same philosophy upon training. So when you look at the likes of a Nicholas Jackson, he might not have to do all that much running. It might be the odd sprint in behind when a ball's played through in this game, and therefore I don't think it's going to significantly impact his chances of not being fit and available for Newcastle in playing him for, as I say, an hour or so in this game and then making a host of changes. That would definitely be the starting lineup that I would go for. Obviously, likes of Romeo Lavia, I wouldn't be risking. The likes of Caicedo, I wouldn't be risking. And Trevor Chalobah and Levi Colwill put in such a good shift the other day that I think that both of them deserve this game off and they can watch on from the stands. I'm very confident that we've got enough to get the job done with that team that we see there. And as I say, I think that Enzo Maresca might go a little bit stronger. I think that he might start a Noni Madueke perhaps. I think that we might even see a Cole Palmer in there perhaps. But that is just how I would be playing this one. Shin Mayuka as well is another player that I could touch on that maybe we might see in there instead of Nicholas Jackson. So let's see how it goes. Obviously, it will be one last time for the Chelsea fans to enjoy what I would say so far has been, on the whole, an enjoyable little experience in the Europa Conference League so far this season. I've been to quite a few games myself, 4 or 5 of them, and I've not minded it. We lost once. I don't really count the qualification round as losing against Servette. We lost once, but to be honest, I stayed down in the bar for the second half of that game because we were playing absolute dog shit. But I don't expect us to in this match. I think that the form is arising, and I believe that all eyes really now are set on Newcastle. I believe that if you're Eddie Howe right now, you can predict exactly what starting lineup Chelsea will go with. And do you know what? I don't even think that that is a bad thing. I think that that sort of solidity that we've now got there and assurance that we've now got there can only help us in games to come. I am going to predict a result in this game. I think that we're going to beat Djurgården 3-1. In this game. I do think we'll concede a goal, but I do think we'll beat Djurgården 3-1 in this match. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will be uploading a video straight away after the game where I review the match, and then the following day myself and Josh will be in the studio where we will do our Newcastle preview. So if there's anything you want answered or anything like that in that video, get it in the comment section to this video. Also, let me know what you think of that starting lineup. Would you go stronger? Would you go weaker? But most importantly, I want your lot's scoreline predictions in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching to the end of another video, and I will see you all in the next one.